Okay, welcome to Speedicalc. This is going to be an instructional walkthrough to just help get things started, and you can rewind it if need be, but this is intended to help you as it's your first time. So we're going to minimize the logo here, and you'll get an email like this. So this is for Jeff, and what you'll have is a link here. You'll have the username or email that's provided. It's your Speedicalc email address, and you'll have your password, and this is just the display name. Okay, so for this demo, it is Jackrabbit. And so what we'll do when we get this is we'll open the link. Okay. Actually, what I'm going to do here, let's see which browser is this. This is not the browser I want. I'm going to use a different browser just for the sake of not having confusion between other things I have open. So what I like to do is I like to use the private or incognito window. So if you have Google Chrome, which is recommended, you'll want to use new incognito. I can show you that. I just have it tagged here at the bottom, and if you right click on it, this will pop up and it's a selection here, or you can have a new window. If you have Microsoft Edge, you can do that, and it's called in private window, but I'll show you what it looks like. It's the same for both. If I click Chrome and if I click a new window for Edge, okay, so what you have here is you see these three dots, and there's three dots here. So in Edge they're horizontal, and in Chrome it is vertical. In either case, you click it, it's the third one down. Click that. You don't have to do it, but if you have other Microsoft accounts, then it's better to do the incognito. It doesn't interfere due to not storing cookies. So if we do here, again, it's the third one down, but in Edge it's called in private instead of incognito. So we only need one, so I'm going to get rid of that one. And I'm going to get rid of this, so I have my incognito window. And if I click on it, it'll go to the default browser that you have open, and it very well could work, but if you do it and then you find out that you do have some kind of interference, then do it this way and you should be totally fine. Okay, so what we'll do is I'm gonna copy the link here. Let's see, edit link. I'm just gonna copy it like this. Again, you can just click on it, right, and open the link, and it'll take you to the default, but that's my Edge one. And so I'm gonna paste it in my incognito and hit enter, and then I'm gonna copy, paste the Speedicalc email, enter, next, and then this is the password here, but you can copy and paste as well and sign in. And here you can click don't show this box again and hit yes. FYI, this typically pops up all the time no matter if you check it or not, so you can do that, but because this is a demo, I'm just going to hit no. So it's your preference. Now you're going to get this window. What this means is this is a private account, so it is protected, so it's in the cloud. This is all cloud based, and so take a look at this, but what you're going to do is you're going to click on where it says continue to Microsoft SharePoint Online. So click that, and this will take you to the account. Okay, here the account is popping up. All right, we'll let it load. All right, it's loaded up. I'm going to zoom in a little bit just because for this video it's easier to see. So it's loading, and it takes a little bit to load, and you'll see these kinds of things pop up where you have a sprocket, and you can go in here and check things out. You can check this is your name, and you can go to your account information. So this is who you are. When you get the account, it'll be different, but you have all the access to these applications, right? So um, Teams is a good one. So if you have video conferencing, you have that ability. You have PowerPoint, you have Word, you have Outlook, but it is through Speedicalc, just FYI. So it will be from Speedicalc. Your Jack, in this case, Jack Rabbit at Speedicalc. You have a OneDrive where you can store any files as you wish, right? So you can create file structures and for your project and store everything there. You have Excel as well. And just to note though, everything is cloud-based. So this will all be online. This will not be a desktop version. So all these are online applications, but you have them all. And then you can also explore other applications and add them to it. There's a lot of free ones. We'll just take a quick look. Don't want to get too off base here. I'll zoom in a little bit again. So these are the ones that I already have. You can add any of these though, right? Some of them are free, some of them are not. Like Microsoft Project, you have to pay for. You already have SharePoint. Your new planner, list, to-do list. The list one's cool, and you might want to check that one out. Forms is cool. If you have quizzes, if you want to do, if you have people on your team or in your company that you want to do some quizzes, like kind of like Survey Monkey in a sense, right? You can do the same thing here, and it's all connected. It's all available. You don't have to pay extra. Okay. Power Automate, if that's something that you're used to, it's here. Whiteboard, Visio, but yeah, List is a cool one. You might want to check out. And so anyway, don't want to get too deep into that. Feel free to check it out. We're gonna go back to SharePoint. That's where the account is. Okay. It's also here at this tab, but let's click on SharePoint, and here's the account. Now this is my account. You can see both, so you're only going to see the one that not to be confused what I'm showing here. This is a different account. This account that we're looking at is the Jackrabbit one. This is not going to come up on your screen. So anyways, let's click on this one. And if I was to go ahead and click on this again or upload this, it would be this account here. So just don't want to cause any confusion. Now, you can go to Teams directly by clicking this if you want. But here we're going to go to the Speedicalc program, and that's available here. It's called Speedicalc. Now, just again, so there's no confusion, we named it Speedicalc, but it's actually in Microsoft, it's called Documents, but we renamed it here. So if you're getting deep or moving around somewhere, you want to go back, just know that Documents is here in Speedicalc, okay? So we have some folders here where you can put drawings, photos, change orders, RFIs, specifications, and plan on adding here instructional videos. So such as this one. So anyways, there's nothing here in this demo, but and all these are blank, but just letting you know that's what's intended. So we're going to go here, and it says small because this is the small project. There is medium, large, extra large, and XXL projects or mega projects. So those are different sizes of projects that you can purchase. The small one is the smallest of them all, where it's just these two files where you have a user template and the project data. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on both of them. Okay, and I'm going to walk through this real quick. And again, you can just reference it as needed. And what I like to do is I'm going to put one over here to the side, and then I'm going to pull one of them over out so I can have both of them on the screen. Okay, so I'm going to have my user template on one side, and I'm going to have my project data file on the other side. Now, real quick, the user template is the only place that you put entries. The project data files, and if you get a different size project, if it's medium, large, whatever, they'll all be data files. These are view only, so everything is automatically pulled over from the entries and then put into this data file that you reference, and you have all of the different reports and whatnot. And we're going to get into that. Okay, so what you want to do is all again in the cloud, so you have access anywhere you have a internet connection or Wi-Fi, and you could be out in the field and do entries. You could do it on your phone, you could do it on a tablet, on your laptop, whatever. You say you have a hotspot, right? And you have your tablet, and that'll work. So just letting you know. Um, Let me show you here. I'm just going to expand this real quick. And just to show, let me put this to a single line, give us a little more space, and I'm going to reduce the size here a little bit. Okay, so this is just run through the tabs real quick. We have terminology and definition, so if it's something you're not familiar with or want to familiarize yourself more, the formulas and what everything means is all spelled out for you here. You can run through that. It's all available. You don't have to go look it up in some book, right? Table of contents is here, and it's all clickable, so I can bounce around and go back and forth. That's this one. Instructions. There's an instructions tab, so you can follow that along as well. Okay, and then I'll click this to go back. Critical path setup. That's here, and then again I'm going to click this and go back, and click this for the main setup, and click this and go back. Okay, so everything you can jump around super easy that way, or you can click the tabs below. Okay, whatever you wish. Now let's we took a look at the instructions real quick. I'm not going to go through them. You can go through them yourself, but this walks you through everything step by step, and you can see all the entries that need to be made and how everything works. It explains it for you. Okay, and then project location, you can enter this in, and we have the ability to connect to Power BI. All of these can be everything can be shown in Power BI to give you that rich format of graphics and have a little bit more flexibility in seeing things with you can, if you have it on your phone or tablet, it's real user friendly. So that's something that we have, the address, everything, the location. So there's a tab in Power BI, and it'll show you the map of your actual location. It just goes right there. So that's a slide or report. So that's something, it's not mandatory for this, but it's something nice to have. So we can just put something simple, right? Just for this case, Main Street, city, we'll say Boston, and state is Massachusetts. It's a pull down, so we can pick, and then whatever the area is. This is not actual Boston zip code, it's Saugus, so we could just say Saugus. Massachusetts. Okay. And as you saw, everything was yellow, and the yellow went away. The yellow just means it's entries that need to be entered, and so just to kind of guide you along the way. Okay. Now let's zoom in here, and what we're going to do. Anything that you see with a red tab at the very top, if you put your cursor right on it, you'll get a message that'll help guide you through. So questions that you have along the way, what do I need to put here? Just take a look at this note and it'll tell you. So for here, it says enter the name of your project here. Note that this is the only location that the project name can be entered. So trying to make it user friendly in the sense that we're not going to be entering things in multiple spots. Project name, the data date or your report date, the activity name, start and finish dates. You should only have to enter this stuff one time, and it'll carry through for you in the rest of the program. Okay. Now this one as well. So this one says enter the data date here. The data date, you can stretch it out or scroll bar. This is the date that you're reporting on. This is the only location again. And recommendation is to save data files folder each week, so you always have a backup of a reference to the previous entry. So meaning this is on a weekly basis, so every time you do an update, it's probably a good idea to save this. Okay. And because this again is real time, it's in the cloud, so every entry that's made, it automatically is updating. So if you want to go and take a look at what you did last week or last month, you're going to be able to see it through graphs. But if a lot of stuff has changed, you might want to have a reference of what day one looked like, for example. So that's just a recommendation, not necessary. Okay, so we're going to call this just Project X, and we're going to just put a date in here. Let's put in report date of, let's go in the future here. It's the 15th as of today, so let's just put the 23rd. Okay, so it tells you it's week 34 of 52 of the year, and it's on a Wednesday. Okay, so that's automatic, which I think is nice. And then we're going to add an activity. So you at least need one activity to get this started. And let me close that out. Okay, so let's say that we'll just call this activity number 1. And watch what happens when I hit enter. You see that you have the WBS that automatically populates for you. Okay, so I'm just going to do this for example and copy this down. But you see how the WBS fills out with automatically. You don't have to create it, and it keeps everything in order and on track. So if you have a different WBS and you don't want to follow this, then the recommendation is that you correlate that in a separate file so that you know that your WBS means this activity. Because obviously everybody has a different WBS for their company, and there's no way that you can have it consistent with every single company for every single person, right? Or project in that matter. All right, so let's say this one is going to be number 2, okay? And then there's a weight, so this puts an importance value, and again, you can show this in your notes, and get that. And it'll tally everything up here, okay? It is important to have an importance value. Now, if you don't know what a weight, you don't want to apply weights, it's still necessary that you enter something in. So you could put 50-50, and you could do it that way, right? If you have an odd number and you don't want to apply weights and you say, okay, I have something like that, then you just need to do a fraction of it, right? So you would just say that this is equal to 1 divided by 3. And since it's Excel, you could also get really crazy, right? You could do actual formulas, and you could say it's 1 over the count of this and just sum that, right? That's the beauty of this being in Excel. But for this example, we're just going to use 2 activities. We're not going to get too crazy. We are going to apply weights, though. We're going to say that this is 30%, and we'll say that this is 70%. Now, if I go over and say the 75, it's going to turn red. So there are indicators like this that kind of point out. It's like this one's red. Why? Because we have 2 activities. Nothing's entered in. This one's yellow just because, again, it's showing you at least you need to enter in yellow as a mandatory thing, for this to work. So again, you at least need 1 activity that has a start and finish date, for example. In any case, let's put that back so it's 100%. Now, the start date cannot be, it shouldn't be later than this date, right? Because you're reporting on this date, so you don't want it to start later. So just keep some stuff in mind like that. Total logic and common sense, but just pointing it out. Now let's put today's date, and then again, because it's Excel, you can say equals, and it's this plus, say it's 20 days. Remember that it's 19 days plus this date. So I'll say 19, and then you'll see 20 days here. This is number of weeks. And again, because it's Excel, what I can do is I can say equals. There's a formula bar up here if you want to type it in here as well. But you can say equals. You can select the cell because it's Excel, and I can say +1. So it's the day after. And then I'm going to say equals, and then that cell plus, let's just say it's 25 days. plus this date, so 26. Now, quantity or percentage, what you want to do is you have a pull down list. When you click the cell, you can pick quantity or percent. When you pick one, um, if you pick quantity, you have to put a quantity. That's why it's red. But when you fill it in, let's just call it 50. That goes away. And then let's do a percentage for the, and we'll follow this one as a percentage. You don't want to put a quantity since it's a percentage. It's automatically 100%. You don't. That's your goal, right? To get to 100%. There is nothing less. There is nothing more. It's this to be done, to be finished. You need to be at 100%. So that's automatic. What happens if I type in a number here? It turns red. Why? Because you're at a percentage. Now, say you forgot and you left that in there, the default will go to whatever you selected. So it's going to ignore this. So you could have it in there, but it's not going to account for it. So that's just FYI. So now what if I have 50 and I go back and I say it turns the red to normal, right? But let's put it back so we can just show both different types. And then let's scooch over. And let's just review this. This is our current plan or target, right? So this is the plan, what we plan to do. So this is our plan for activity 1 and 2. We plan to start and finish these dates, these quantities or percentage, right? And then this is a cost, or you could look at it as your budget. So let's just put some numbers here for the example. What's 250,000? Let's call this one 150,000. Okay, and then start date, you want to have it for your baseline. Your baseline is typically your contract, so you should review your contracts, and you should have a schedule of values or something like this where you know when things are going to start and how much is going to be paid when. But in any case, you want to enter your baseline. And another beautiful thing that you can do, it's again since it's Excel, and for this example, just to show, I can say equals that and have it as the same start date, right? And then I say this equals that plus, let's just say 10. It's just made up. And then for the example, plus 1 equals that plus, let's just say 25, okay? And then we'll go over, and your quantity can be different for the baseline. Let's call it 51 just to be different. That's a percentage, and percentage cannot be different. And then the total cost, what do we have before? We'll have it similar, 250 and 150. Let's call it 245 just to be different. And we'll call it, we had 150, we'll call it 155, again, just to be different. And very well could be the same. And then you're finished, okay? So let's just zoom out now that we have this, and you can see what we've entered in here for the baseline and for the plan. You're finished that, and that's your setup. Now for the small project, you have up to 20 activities. What you do not want to do is say activity 3 down here. Okay, that's kind of silly to do it that way. And what's going to happen, this is actually, you can't do this. You need to be in sequence. So you can't jump around. It gets messy, really messy, but the program will be, it'll be messed up, really, your data, because what it's going to do, it's going to look and it's going to have a big gap, and then you'll have something here at the end that's, so this, I say this because what if you do have all these filled out and then you start like, oh, I'm not going to do that activity or that one, you just delete them. They need to be in sequence. Okay, it needs to be connected. So think of it that way. So if that happens, what you're going to have to do is just push everything up, or you have something new, fill it in, and you'll have to reconnect it. But keep that in mind. But in any case, we're done with this section. You do have to fill out all the tabs. Okay, so we're done with this one. Critical path method is mandatory. You need to tell the program if what activity comes before the other one. Okay, so if you wanted to get kind of ridiculous, you can still have them, in sequence, but this one could be the earlier date and this one could be later. But what you'd have to do is you'd have to keep track of that, and the program can keep track of it for you, but it's going to be really difficult for you to think of things that way, kind of backwards or funky in different orders. So it's just recommended to be in sequence. It's good practice, and that's pretty much what everybody does anyway when they develop a schedule. So here it pulls over. Here's your WBS. Here's your activity names that we gave it. And this populates over here according to the WBS number. So we only have these two, so those are the only two that are populated. They are all the way down here, but we're not using these. So we're only going to use the activities that we are doing, which are these two, okay? So this is here, but it's as a predecessor. So it's in the middle here to just show that a predecessor is on the left, meaning it comes before, and successor is on the right, meaning it comes after the activity that we have. So that's the thought process here, to kind of get it in your head that a predecessor is before, successor is after whatever activity. Now, what comes before activity 1? There is nothing. So we're not going to pick number 2. That doesn't make sense. But number 2 does come after 1. So because it comes after, what I'm going to do, when you click on any of these, you have a pull down and you can click yes. When you click yes, that means, and it lights up, that means that it's connected and that this activity, yes, is after activity 1. Now, we go to activity 2, and what is before activity 2? Activity 1 is. So we go here and we pick yes. Now, you could say no for here, and you could say no for here. You don't need to do that. It's an option if you like to see the word no, just for personal reasons, then you can do that. I like to just keep it blank, or you can delete it, and it's the same thing. So if it's blank, it's default to no. So this way, all the yeses and highlighted you can quickly see, but you have that option if you do want to click no. Okay, but that's it. There is nothing else over here. Once you get more bigger projects, a medium large size, then it gets a little more involved, but this helps you get an understanding of how to do things. So that's it for this. Next we do the inputs. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Let me zoom in here and just scooch over though. So here we have, it's your WBS. This is our weight. This is the activity name. We did the plan to start, so we know for this activity that it's planned to start on this date and finish on this date, September 3rd. So you can see here, this all stays stagnant, but I can scroll through all the dates. Okay. Now I scroll all the way up, and what's highlighted is my data date. So if I go back, my data date is here, August 23rd. Just it's already provided, so you don't have to go back and forth to see what the data date is. But just to show you, if I did say, okay, this is going to be the week before, and I go back to the inputs, you see how the line bumped up because this is highlighting the week that we're reporting on. This is as of, in so many words, today. Okay, because you're going to be doing this in real time, so this will be the week of, so every week. But let's go back, and I just undid, so it jumped back down. So there's a note here, but what you want to do is everything that you enter on the actual should be whatever, including the yellow line. So this is as of now in this case, and everything before it. So we're going to say, okay, and this is for a quantity. So we'll say, okay, we're going to do, we plan to do 8 of them that week, and then, or this is what actually happened. So we did 8, and we did another 15 this week. And then the forecast, you can't put an actual forecast in the same line, right? Because the forecast is in the future, actual is what already happened. So everything in the forecast needs to be below the yellow line, as also mentioned in the note, but just pointing that out. So let's just say, okay, we have 38. That's too much. See how it's telling at the top? It needs to be 50. Okay, so I typed that in. I did it wrong. I did 28. That's still too much. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's 27. There, I'm at 50. And then that goes away. Now, if you do go over, and I have another one, it'll do this, and everything will calculate properly according to what you actually entered in here. This is just telling you, hey, you said that the plan is 50, and this is what we're planning on. If you need to change your plan, and again, this is what can change throughout a project, things do change, then you can just go back here and you can change it to 51. Okay? And then go back, and there you go. Okay? Just for example, I'm going to just put it back at 50. Now we want to do the budget. So the budget, we know that we had a budget. Our budget's 250, but what we want to do is, I'm going to zoom out a little bit here just to kind of show that you can go down and you're not going to pay more than likely 250,000 or the full budget amount at day one, right? It's going to be over a course of time as work is getting performed. So you will have a baseline. Typically, again, it's your contract, but for this case, we'll just say 45,000, and then it's supposed to be another 50,000, and you see it's tallying up here at the top. And then we'll do 90,000, okay? And then we'll say how much are we off now? So because it's Excel, I can say equals 250 minus 185. I can do that, right? And there, boom. So you can do things like that again because it's Excel. Now, the plan, what actually is planned, well, that maybe it didn't go as the contract, but now we have a new plan and everything's been confirmed. Okay, so let's just say ended up being 85,000, again, making stuff up. 95,000. Okay, we're at 180. And 75,000. 255, too much. So it's 70,000. Okay, there we go. And you see it's changed, but it's still showing red because we haven't finished filling everything out yet. That's what basically that means. So actually, how much did we pay? Well, we ended up paying 125,000. Okay, and then we ended up paying another 45,000 this week. That's what actually happened. And then the forecast will be whatever, right? So let's just say equals 250 minus 170 is what's left. And it was 80,000. Okay. I mean, I could have figured that out in my head, or I can just type it in because it's Excel. So let's scooch over again. Let's do activity number 2. And we're going to do the same kind of thing. Now, I didn't really pay much attention here. Let's see. The 15th to the 3rd. So, okay, I'm actually finishing before I planned to finish. All right, so that's okay. And but if I came after, then it is what it is. But just showing you here. Let's see. So let's start with the 4th. September 4th is when we plan to be starting this. So we actually don't have anything done, and we don't plan to do anything until the future. Well, the future is the forecast, so we don't want to type anything in here on this side. We will only do in the future, and then as we work our way down and we report, we'll get to this, right? It'll jump down, and we'll make our adjustments every week as we move through the project. So now what we want to do is what we're planning to do is, it's in percentage. We plan to do 25% here, plan to do another 15% here, and what I'm typing it up here, if you want to see in the formula bar, is for this case, some cases you can type in the whole number and it'll be the percentage, but if I typed in, let's just say I typed in 20, it says 200,000 or 200%. No, we want 20%, for example. So it's 0.2. Okay, so there's 20%. And then let's see, we plan to finish September 29th, which is this week. Okay, and then we have 40% left. So let's just put 40. And that goes away after you've completed the total. Now let's do the budget. Same kind that we did before. All right, we have 150. Let's just say it was 26,000, 38,000, 27,000. 1,000. We're at 91, and then I want to skip a week, and I'm going to do 65,000 over. So I'm over by 6. So I want to do let's see here, 59,000. Yep. Okay. And then here the plan is let's say 45,000, 12,000. Just making this up, right? Let's skip another week. Let's do 91,000. We're at 148, and then we'll do 2,000 to close that out. And then we do the actual. So the actual actually didn't do anything, let's say this week. And we'll do 50,000 is what actually happened. And the rest is a forecast. Let's say nothing, 48,000. 65,000, that's too much. 50,000 and another 2,000. And that went away. Okay. And then we're done. That's all you need to do. And then let's take a look. So I'm going to push this over to the left again. And when you're finished, what you need to do is you see up here, this is the refresh or reload this page. So it's basically you're saving everything. So when you're done, hit that, and it's going to basically save everything. You'll see down here waiting. So it's uploading it right now, and this is all in the cloud. So now it's done. You can see everything again. It's still waiting. Let's wait for that to go away. Okay, that's gone. And I'm going to show this page that we did before, and I'm going to show over here the same page. I'm going to zoom out to 70% as well, and I'm going to hit enable now that after we've saved it. So enable, let me put this over, and when you click enable, it's going to pull the data over. So you see it did that. So I have project X, everything is identical, right? The difference here is that over here we had just these entries and then the baseline, right? On the project one, it does all the calculations for you. So I have the critical path method, I have the actual forecast. It's grayed out because these are automatic. There's no entries. Actually, everything in data, you don't touch. Everything is done already. Everything is automatically set up. Okay. So, but just to show you, everything that if you've studied for the PMP exam, you have the Project Management Book of Knowledge, what they call the PMBOK. That is every single thing that is in that book. For example, it's here and it's already done for you. You don't have to calculate it, right? So critical path method, all your actuals are here and everything's in list format, so you can see everything automatically. Just look at it. The costs are here. All the earned value management is provided for you. Okay, you don't have to calculate it and figure it out, and it's already applied with the weights applied. So if I were to go back and change these weights, these would adjust automatically. You don't have to redo it. Late finish calculated for you. Baseline is pulled over from before. Okay, so that's all done. Let's take a quick look though. That's what we've already seen before. On this one, again, it's the same terminology definition. So if you just have this file open, you can reference it here as well. Table of contents, we have more available than on the other one because you have all this information. All the outputs are automatically provided for you. You can just jump to them. Okay, so let's go to inputs. I'm going to zoom out. It looks familiar because we just did it, right? So that's all there, and it's just pulled over, so everything is provided for you in this file, and you can scroll over as needed. Just to do that, this says category not used, right? Because we don't have those projects. So this is blank, and you don't need to do anything with it, but as you fill it in, it'll populate. Now, that's the inputs. And the other one, what do we have? So we had CPM is the other one. So the CPM, you don't, that's already done. So you're not going to see that one. What you will get from that one is you'll have your critical path method. That's this one here. So critical path method is how you connect everything. But for the output, um, what you have is how everything is connected, and you have your early start. Here's the legend. So early start, early finish, late start, late finish, and that's here in these cells, and you can reference it over here, and that's automatically calculated for you. You don't have to determine it. So if you have a lot of activities and you want to know what your float is or what your critical path is, it's going to be identified here. So this is only 2 activities, so they're back to back. It's definitely critical path. There is no room for float. But if I'd have a third or fourth activity and say I did have float, it would say in this cell, instead of critical path, it will say or float. So it'd say float, and it would say how many days of float. Well, how many total, like free float or total float, right? And you can go and see what that really means if you're not familiar with it. So this is automatically done for you, and it gives you the dates. Where if you again have studied for PMP and you in the PMBOK, you don't have dates. It's just numbers, right? But this is the real world. So in the real world, we don't go by numbers. We go by calendar. And so it's represented with actual dates instead of just a number, okay? And then let's go back, and we did our inputs, right? So we have the dashboard. So the dashboard gives you an overview of the entire project. Gives a little more room there. And so this tells us, whoa, 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 our cost is way behind, and our schedule, this is not looking good. So this is in the red. We want to improve that. So this is just telling you what's going on. And so you have your earned value, your planned value, and your actual costs, and everything that you want to know about your project is summarized here. So you have your cost information on the left and your schedule information here on the right. So you know you're over budget, it tells you, and you know you're behind schedule and it's in progress. So for example, if it hasn't started yet, it would say that it hasn't started yet. And if it was finished, it would say it was finished. And if it was, ahead or you were in budget, then it would tell you that as well instead of saying over. So if you're in the green, it would tell you that. And so it tells you, okay, this is your budget as of now. Okay, so you're saying, wait a second, maybe my budget was different. This is your budget as of now. This is your actual spend as of now. This is your planned spend as of now, according to your data date. So everything is per the data date. So as things move, these can shift because it's as of right now, right? What I'm reporting on this week. And your earned value. Okay, so everything is already here, and you can have these visuals. And this is something that maybe the CEOs or top management want to see, and it's already provided for you. Now you also have. Let me zoom in. You have this report with all your schedule and your budget. Now wait a second. This isn't showing anything. Well, this is a template, and you're filling it out, so that you'll need to update this, and you have access to this. So what you can do is you can right click and click format. So what I did is did a right click on the axes with the dates, right? So I'm going to right click, I'm going to hit format, and then what happens is this pops up and I see horizontal axis. Okay, and what are my dates? My dates are here in the project, so between mid-August and end of September. So I'll go back here, and what I can do is I can say mid-August of 2023. So August, I'll do a little before, just so it's not right on the edge. So I'll just call it the 5th and of year 23, and then I'm going to tab, and I'm going to go to this one, and I'm going to say we're into September, so I'll say September 30, 23, and I'll tab over, and there's your chart, okay? And it's the schedule and budget together. Now, because you have access to this, you can delete it, so don't do that, because if you do, it's gone. And if you need it again, we can help you with that, but just try not to do that. What you can also do though is you can, you know, expand it and do things like that, or you can just zoom in, right? And you can take a look at it that way. All right, so that's just kind of let you know again because it's Excel. Now this tells you all the information. So you have your percent versus expected with the importance weight applied. Okay, and then you have the actual quantity versus the expected. So this is the same because it's all in percentage, but you could have a scenario where it's all in quantity. So it'll translate the quantity to percentage. Okay, so you know you're speaking in the same terms and everything um, is apples to apples. Okay, but the program does that for you. Now let's scroll down again. That's the budget and the schedule combined together, so you can see one laying on top of the other one. Right now, let's go here, and we have the schedule, and what you can see is how things are going. You have 13.8% done, 86.2 to go. You can see the actual where you're at, where you plan to be, where your baseline was, and this is the late finish. Okay, so yeah, you're below the late finish, which that is not good. But hopefully your project isn't like that. So now let's take a look at the budget information here. So, oops, sorry. Um, but there we go. Okay. So budget information. Here we go. Actual plan baseline. So actual is 220,000. The plan was 237, and the baseline was 159. And then everything is here as well. Okay. And everything, it's all done for you. Okay. Now, let's go to the CPI and SPI. So what this is this is all your activities. This is number 1 and 2. This is not started. It's considered behind schedule. It is over budget. So we're at 0. That's no bueno. This one is in progress. It's behind schedule. It's already over budget. So that's just how these were entered according to the plan and whatnot. So I'm sure yours will be much better, but this is again just for example. I didn't put any thought into it. Just typing it in to show you how it works. And so again, because you have a different percentage of each of these that you apply to weight to, it applies to all of this. So as this one would be the percentage that we provided, and this is the other one, and then the two of them combined is the project. So basically, think of if these two had a baby, and 30% of the baby is activity one, and 70% of the baby is activity two, then this is what it would look like. Okay. Let's go to the Gantt. The Gantt is automatically done for you. You don't need Microsoft Project. You don't need Primavera. You don't need any scheduling tool. It's done for you automatically. So the Gantt is a bar chart. And so this, again, shows you everything as far as actual plan, forecast. And let's see here. We have the dates provided. And then we have the overall project at the top here. So this shows you um, the legend up here, the actual overall um, actual forecast plan and the baseline. Okay, so it's all here. So your baseline was planned to start this date, finish this date. Your plan was start, finish this date. Actual is this, and so on. So this one, again, this is according to the current data date. This is your WBS. This is your project and the activities inside it. And this is the actual completion that's done. This is what was planned. So you actually didn't have anything planned here. And the actual is 0. But the actual is 46, and you planned to be 60% done. Okay. And now let's go to earned value. I'm going to zoom out. So this is your earned value information. All the information here is provided: actual cost, cost variance, earned value, plan value, schedule variance, and so on. Is all here, and as we go through, it's all provided for you as well. So again, you don't have to flip back and forth. Here's the graph for earned value, which we saw in the dashboard previously. And then we have the graph again. We need to do this one. So let's say format, and we come over to here, and we say April, August 5, 23, and then this one is September 2023. Okay, and you see that. We could actually go into late August for this one. We can call it August 26. Let's just say, for example, and see how it moves. A little too much. But you can pick the actual date too. Let's see. Let's pick the 23rd. Too much. Let's do 15. Whoops. Doing the wrong way. My bad. And we could go a little further in. 15th. It's too much. Do the 10th. Okay. All right. See how this works. And let's see this one, August 15. 23, tab, September 1, 23. Looks like I can drag that out a little further. Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but you get the idea, right? So I can click that, and there we go. Okay, so that's where we are as of right now. And again, with the percentages and everything, this is for each of the activities, but merged together based on their percent. That's what you see here. Now, why is this starting here and not 0? Well, because you actually, in that week, you did have some progress. So what you did is you actually had, up to this point, that was what was done in that first week. So if the first week you had like 1, then it would be, down here. And if it's something you want to see where it's 0, then I recommend that you put like 0.01 where it shows like it hits basically the 0 mark, but it's an actual value that you're following. So just looking at this, I know immediately in my first week that this is how much I paid, or this is the value of my earned value. Okay, now let's go to the next one, which is the progress. And this is the combo. So this is your budget and schedule laid on top of each other. Again, we saw this on the dashboard. And again, these are not showing, but we could do the same thing. Right click, format, and select horizontal axis. And then we do the dates, right? So we can do that. And then the S curve for budget. So there's, for the budget, let's scooch over. The budget, S curve, and bar. It's the same, but some people like to see it represented differently. I personally do like the S curve. So just scooch this over and say 8, 20, 23. There. Now you see it on the whole thing. And you'd have to adjust these like we did on the other ones as well. Again, this is carried over. Okay, it's the same, but that you don't have to bounce around. Everything is here. But everything, again, for every single activity is done and the entire project. Again, this one's the same. It's just in bar form instead of S curve. Progress chart. This is your schedule. Instead of looking at it as a Gantt, which is a bar, you actually have it as an S curve or a line chart. And that actually, I think, gives you a better representation of progress versus a Gantt anyway. Because you can see, okay, when am I forecasting to be, when am I going to be 80% done? I come over here and I say, okay, I'm going to be at this, mid-September, right? So that's better, I think. I need to adjust these again, do the format, horizontal axis, and so on, right? Okay, and then critical path we went through. We saw that already. And WBS, these are the last two we'll run through. And what this is on the WBS, it's this is your whole project here, Project X, and everything's tallied at the top. Everything here for your schedule's tallied on your budget as well. Everything is cumulative though, so you see it increasing, um, or how you see it actually on per week. So my mistake. So this is showing actual activity here. It's not cumulative. It's broken down, and you can see what happened per week. So you can say what happened this week, what happened that week on my budget schedule for each activity. You say, okay, for that week I got this much done. Okay, but on the progress one has the cumulative and the breakdown. So it's drawn out more, and it says cumulative because this is the granular one showing you what happened each week, but this is the summation of everything. So instead of 4.8 and 9, it's 4.8 plus 9, right? So you get 13 and so on until you get to 100%. And that's how that works. So that's for the budget and the schedule, how that works, cumulative, and what you did each week to get to that cumulative. And that is for the project, and that's for the activity as a whole. So you go here in the activity. This is all activity 1 for all budget stuff, all schedule stuff. Everything here that you'd ever want to know is all done here at the top, all tallied up. And again, the yellow line is there to show you where you're at as of now and what you're planning for the future, right? And so this again is per your weight. Your weight is shown here, 70% for this case, 30 for this, and it's adjusted appropriately. So that 30%, that 70% of these activities merges, and you get it into your entire project, which is at 100%, of course. Okay, so that is everything. The other thing, just to reiterate, once you do an update over here, be sure to hit this to save it. And then when you, after you've saved it, then you can go into your data file and you can refresh. So after you refresh everything, it's good. And I like to think of it, since you'll have multiple people working in the same file, putting their own inputs on their own section, then the idea is, okay, let's say at the end of the day, hey, everybody, let's say 5 o'clock, everybody should have all their entries in by end of day, and let me know when you're done. And then once you know everything's done, you can go in here and you can see what you did for where you're at as of today at the end of the day, and everybody has their entries in. Of course, you can always check this out and keep hitting refresh throughout the day, and as people are doing entries in here, you can see progress being made. You could literally just go, and I'm going to click on the gauge one, and this would be a cool one to just kind of watch, so you could be at your desk the whole day and be like, why does this keep going down? Why am I over budget now? And why is this happening? And then you can make a call and say, hey guys, whoever is responsible for this, what's going on? Why is this happening? And you don't need to, ask them particulars. You already know what's happening to your project, and you go into that detail. You have all the information, right? So that is the beauty of this, and that's how a project really should be ran, instead of having to always gather information to just create a monthly report, where you actually seem to be working to create a report instead of doing the job at hand, right? And that's what we all want to do to have a successful project. So that is it. and we'll leave the rest up to you. Have fun, and hope you enjoy the program.